Hello everyone, it's finally time to rank all of the best controllers you can get in 2024. This ranking will be made from top to bottom, and I'll give brief explanations on my choices. The S Plus tier goes to controllers that feels nearly perfect, while giving you a truly next-gen experience. These are the best controllers you can get this year, and this time we have two controllers. For the surprise of no one, the best controllers this year are the Apex 4 and the Vader 4 Pro from FlyDigi. I could not put one above the other. The two controllers are great, and both of them delivers the best experience you can get. On the Apex 4 you have adaptive triggers just like the DualSense. It has a screen to change your configurations easily, and the best analog sticks in the market, with a unique design using bearings on its structure. The stick moves freely like a fidget spinner. You don't feel any kind of friction on the movement of the stick itself, but when it touches the edges, it will touch the anti-friction rings. On the Vader 4 Pro, we have the opposite. It has an internal restriction mechanism inside the controller. The stick won't have any friction in the edges, but the construction of the stick module is different from the Apex 4. It does not use the bearings, so the stick movement feels a bit worse compared to the Apex 4. But if you never touch the Apex 4, the sticks will feel better than any other regular controller you have in the market. On the Vader 4 Pro, you don't have the screen to configure the controller, but you have trigger modifiers with a clicky mechanical switch and two extra shortcuts, the C and Z buttons. The next tier goes for controllers that still feel next gen, but they have some problems keeping them away from being the best of the best. And here's an interesting thing. The controller I use as my daily driver is not one of the best of this year. It's the third controller on the list, and it's the Machenike G5 Pro V2. The reason why I picked this over the Apex 4 and Vader 4 Pro is simple. This controller has the perfect combination of shortcut buttons. Two back buttons and two shortcuts on the top. The shortcuts on the top are not easy to hit by accident, and they're perfect alternatives to the shoulder buttons. Instead of moving your fingers to hit them, you can just map them to the shortcuts. This way you have quick access to both buttons. It is also much easier to remap the shortcut buttons on the go, without needing to use a PC or a smartphone app. The design looks good, the battery life is okay, the stick modules are replaceable and you can replace them with a different tension if you want. The face buttons uses optical switches, and the biggest con in this controller is that the switches for the shortcut buttons are just shit. In fact, I had to open the controller myself and replace the switches for a better one. Next comes the Beitong Kunpeng 40. This one too feels next gen. The tension of the sticks is adjustable, it has optical face buttons, two back buttons, and trigger stoppers. Compared to the Vader 4 Pro, it offers a bit less, and this is why it's one tier below. Next is the Beitong Zeus 2. This one has four back buttons and two shortcuts on the top. It has the internal restriction on the analog sticks, and the face buttons are swappable. You can swap between rubber membranes, mechanical switches, or optical switches. The biggest flaws in this one is that there's no way to easily configure the shortcut buttons. The shoulder buttons are noisy and don't feel premium, and the battery life is not so good. On the next tier, these controllers don't have any extraordinary features, but they offer a good performance and are well constructed. The first one on this tier is the GameSir Cyclone 2. It is one of the fastest controllers in the market. The construction is very solid, it has back buttons and trigger stoppers with a digital micro switch. Next is the Elo Vagabond. This is the best mobile controller in the market. It is way more comfortable than any other controller out there. It also has mechanical switches for the face buttons and D-pad, two back buttons with a lock mechanism to prevent accidental presses, and case adapters to fit any phone with or without a case. Next is the Mobapad M6 HD. These are Joy-Cons and are only compatible with the Nintendo Switch, but you can also buy a dongle to be able to use them on the PC as well. It has a perfect HD rumble that's on par with the original Joy-Cons. It also uses mechanical switches for the buttons and D-pad, removable faceplates with an octagonal gate or a circular gate, and two back buttons. Next comes the big one Blitz 2. This also has a great performance and the perfect pair of shortcuts, two on the top and two back buttons. With the help of these front buttons, you can configure anything very quickly. Next comes the KK3 Max. This controller has the best macro recording in the market. You can record up to 15 minutes of commands, and they are perfectly replicated unlike any other controller. It also has 4 back buttons that you can change for a paddle design. Then comes the Hex Phantom. This is technically not a third-party controller. It is an original DualSense that was modified with 4 back buttons and trigger stoppers, and the trigger stoppers have a clicky microswitch. You get all of the advantages of the DualSense with the additional performance of a Pro controller. The next tier has controllers that are good, perform good, but it doesn't have that edge in the performance. Here we have the Asura 2 Pro Plus, the Fantech EOS Pro, the Manba One, the Easy SMX X10, the 8-bit Duo Ultimate 2C, the 8-bit Duo M30. I haven't reviewed this one, but I got it recently and I had to include it in the review. The IINE Mousepad game controller, and the Easy SMX M10. This tier has controllers that are still worth your money, but they might have some missing feature or functionalities, and the build construction might not be as premium as the others. We have the Embernic RGP01, the Easy SMX X5, the 8-bit Duo Micro, and the BSP D9. And this last tier is for controllers that has big problems. Problems that will have a huge impact in the performance and it won't work for any kind of game. The GameSir G8 Galileo and the Tarantula Pro has a big issue with the D-pad. The diagonals are very inconsistent, and if you don't press it in a very specific way, it will drop your inputs. Even though they are well built in every other aspect, these issues are critical and it's not easy to fix, and that's why I dropped it to the last tier. And this is my tier list of the best controllers of 2024. I'll be leaving the links to all controllers in the description of this video. And that's it for today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next year.